Did I have a stroke and miss a game? Because the last two games means Kerr is including Game 4, where somebody, who was it, benched Draymond Green? Oh, Steve Kerr did. Can we go through Draymond Green's NBA Finals so far? Game 1, second worst playoff game of his life, and fouled out. Game 2, totally unhinged from the opening tip, but the refs let him get away with that and actually played his only start-to-finish decent game of the series. Game 3, the worst game of his life, according to him, you, me, Eyes, James Naismith, Red Auerbach, and the ghost of Christmas Past, and he fouled out for the second time in the series. Game 4, 1 for 7 from the field, was so bad, his own mother roasted him on Twitter, and Steve Kerr benched him. Game 5, played well for the first half. Then in the second half, had 0 points, 0 shots, fouled out, and threw a tantrum when Kerr almost wouldn't challenge a play that he shouldn't have challenged. That's the series. He has played one game, start to finish, where I thought he had a positive impact, Game 2, and it's because the refs let Draymond Green play like he was hopped up on PCP, and nobody was going to do like, oh, don't mess with that guy, he's crazy. And then Game 5, he was good for a half. And Kerr's like, oh, this is gaslighting. I won't let it stand. And Brew, if you engage in it as well, if you try to be like, oh, I told you, Draymond is a sneaky MVP candidate, I'm going to lose it. I will lose it.
Nick, I'm going to engage in what I always do on this show. Facts over feelings. Now, first of all, I don't even know why you brought up games 1, 2, and 3. Because Kerr said the last 2 games. All right, the last 2
where
games.
he got benched and his mom called him out. Go ahead.
Great is absolutely an overstatement. Great is absolutely an overstatement. But has he been good? I would say he's been good. Now, you're overemphasizing the benching. He was benched for his offense, no doubt. But he also was put right back in for defense. He played the last few minutes of that game. So it wasn't like a complete benching where you can't play. All right, and Stack, I'm going to try to convince Stack because Nick's a lost cause. All right, he just got it in for Dre this series. All right, but Stack, we can't just look at the numbers with Draymond. We know his game has never been just defined by numbers. But he is playmaking better, right? He's had some nice passes. Even in Game 4 at the end of the game, had 2 big assists late. In the game, he was quote-unquote benched. But my focus, and that game, you know what else? 5 offensive rebounds. They had been killed in Game 3 on the glass. He has 9 rebounds, 5 of them offensive, they led to buckets, many of them as well. But my focus, Stack, is on the defense. And we know that Draymond has done a good job on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. All right? He's held Jaylen Brown down ever since Brown embarrassed him I think it was Game 3 at the beginning. He's woke up on the defensive end. But here's my point, Stack. Golden State is playing tremendous defense these last 2 games. They held Boston under 100 points. They held them to an offensive rating of about 100 points for the 2 games and about 40% shooting from the floor. Milwaukee and Miami could not do that. Who's responsible? We know Steph is not a great defender. Clay is not the defender he used to be. Jordan Poole is a poor defender. How are they doing this? Kevon Looney played 17 minutes in Game 5. So Draymond, Wiggins, but by himself? Wiggins and Draymond and Gary Payton Jr. the second when he's out there is a good defender, but he's a part-time player. So Draymond and Wiggins are anchoring this defense, and that is why Golden State is up 3-2. It's not because of the offense, because they're not lighting it up offensively. So my point is Draymond defensively, Stack, has been very good these last 2 games, and that's what Kerr's talking about.
Yeah, Kerr has to say these things. They're in the middle of a dogfight. They have a chance to win the championship. So the last thing you want to do is take Draymond's confidence and say he's playing like trash. But in all actuality, we all know Draymond is lucky as hell to be playing with Steph and Klay Thompson. He's having a terrible series. That's my little brother, and I love him to death. But what we're doing is we're expecting something different from Draymond that he's not capable of. Draymond's great at being the hardest playing person on the court. That's what he does for his team.
That's right.
He plays hard. He brings the energy. He gets in guys' face, and that's his best asset. He plays harder than everybody. Good things happen when you play hard. You know, he play hard on offense, but he just doesn't have that skill. We have to look at him as Ben Simmons in that fact. He has no offensive skill, but he does play hard. And the best thing for him to do is play hard, make defensive plays, and try to do what he can to make an input on the game playing hard. But as far as playing well, he has not been doing that. And if anybody says that outside of Steve Kerr, I don't know what they've been watching. But Steve Kerr has to say that because they won game away from the NBA Finals.
Accurate.
But Stat, is he playing hard? Has the last 2 games, he's done what you said, right? Played hard and impacted the game defensively. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Statistically, he's never going to look great.
He's played hard all series. But just like we talked about the first couple games, he was more worried about the referees and hurting the team more than he was helping them. And I think with him sitting down and admitting he played well, his mama killing him and everybody else killing him, he understands that your antics are hurting your team and not helping them. Last game, he didn't worry about the refs. He played hard. He did what he's supposed to do. And I think the coaches and the teammates had to have a talk with him.
And not worrying about the refs is one of the reasons he's fouled out 3 of the 5 games. But Wilds, this is why I'm calling it gaslighting. Because Brew had the audacity to say, quote, unquote, benched. Like that is a subject of debate. You know how I know Draymond got benched?
You don't come back in.
You can't foul out 3 times.
Benched you don't come back in.
Wait a second. Wait, okay, you know who disagrees with you?
Why would he put him back in?
Draymond Green. You know who disagrees with you? Draymond Green, who on 2 episodes ago on his podcast talked about his benching. Tell him, Brew, that you have a different definition of benching than he does. Because he said,
he should feel that way.
You can't foul out 3 games.
He should feel that.
You can foul out 3 games in a 7-game series and you only played 5 and say you playing well. You got to look yourself in the mirror and say, if I fouled out 3 games, some people don't foul out 3 games in an 82-game season. You fouled out 3 times in the 7-game series.
I'm not saying he's playing well. I'm saying the last 2 games, he was terrible early in this series.
Stay strong, Broussard.
But the last 2 games, he's been good defensively, Wild.
But what happened? My God, I can't deal. I'm sorry, Wild. I can't deal.
They're not up 3-2, Nick, if he's not playing, if he's horrible. How are they up 3-2?
2 games out. Hold on. Throw the first 3 games out. That's fine. I understand wanting to do that because he was historically bad those first 3 games. And by the way, he still has the lowest true shooting percentage of any player in finals history. But we're not going to judge Draymond by the numbers because the numbers say he's having the worst offensive series ever. So let's not use the numbers. Throw those out.
The numbers would say he shouldn't be a Hall of Famer.
Games 4 and 5. Which are the 2 games you're talking about. Game 4, this happened. He was playing a basketball game. His mother was watching it. She was like, oh boy, I got to take to Twitter and tell everyone how terribly my son is playing. His coach, he was playing a basketball game. His coach was watching it. And he said it's the 4th quarter of a must-win game. Otto Porter gives us a better chance to win. Those things happened. There is no way around it. That happened. Wait, that was game 4. Game 5, he was playing a basketball game. In that basketball game in the second half, he took 0 shots and fouled out. So again, if we want to lower the bar to the floor, and all I can do is tell the history of it. All I can do is remind America what happened. I'm not looking at tweets.
Is he playing good defense? Is he playing
good defense for a half.
Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, and Klay Thompson held him to 97 points, 94 points by themselves? Come on.
You believe in him more than his own mother. No. What I'm saying is Brew believes in him more than his mother. So that's fine. I didn't know
all I'm saying is
you had
just
such
looking
a deep
at the
personal connection to Draymond. She
no,
was
I'm
watching
telling
the game.
it like it is.
He was terrible. The Celtics crowd was cheering when he touched the ball.
Let's keep.
Okay, so
okay. Go ahead,
Wilds.
I don't want to add fuel to the fire, but I actually do. Nick,
unbelievable.
I agree with Brew. When you get benched, you're benched and out of the game. This was a temporary benching. It's just like, hey, you go sit on the bench, take a rest, take a prolonged rest. But that's not a benching.
It was offense,
when you get
defense.
benched, you're done. That's right. He got.
It wasn't offense, defense.
He might say bench,
4 minutes.
but Brew's point is he took a rest. That's a rest. It's a long rest.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.